2 months passed, but life did not feel normal for Julia. Even though she was now staying in her parents' house, even though she had her own room and her own space, her mind was not at peace. Every morning, she woke up with a heavy heart. Every night, she cried quietly on her pillow. Nothing made sense anymore. Her parents tried to make her happy. They bought her fruits, cooked her favorite meals, and even stayed with her in the sitting room to watch movies. But Julia was not herself. She moved around like someone walking in a dream. Most times, she stayed in her room alone. She would sit by her window, place her hands on the window frame, and stare outside without blinking. The same question stayed in her head every single day. Why did Doha enter my life? What was his aim? Who was he? Why me, of all people? The more she tried to understand, the more confused she became. She remembered the smile he used to give her. She remembered the gentle way he spoke. She remembered how he said he wanted a house near the forest. She remembered the big snake tail she saw that night, and her heart would beat fast again. She pressed her palm to her chest. "No, it is impossible," she would whisper. I did not imagine it. I saw what I saw. Her mother sometimes entered the room quietly and found her sitting on the floor, lost in thought. "Julia, my daughter, you will be fine," her mother always said, sitting beside her and holding her hand. But Julia would only force a smile. Inside her, everything felt broken. One morning, Julia woke up feeling very weak. Her body felt hot, then cold, then hot again. She tried to stand up, but her legs were shaking like she had no strength. Her mother rushed in when she heard Julia coughing. "My child, what is wrong?" she shouted, touching her forehead. Julia couldn't speak well. Her head was spinning, and her heart was beating too fast. Her father took the car keys immediately. "Let's go to the hospital now." Julia could barely walk. Her father had to support her until they entered the car. Her mother sat beside her, praying loudly, holding her hand tightly. When they reached the hospital, nurses rushed her into a room. They checked her temperature, checked her blood pressure, and asked many questions. After taking some samples, they told her parents to wait outside. Julia lay down staring at the white ceiling, thinking one thing: what if this sickness is from him? She wanted to cry again, but her body was too tired. After some minutes, the doctor came back, holding a paper. She removed her glasses and looked at Julia with a gentle smile. "Julia," she said softly, "I think we know what is happening to you." Julia sat up slowly. What is it?" The doctor took a deep breath. "You are pregnant." Silence. Julia stared at her without blinking. Her mother's eyes grew wide. Her father shifted uncomfortably. The doctor looked confused. She was expecting happiness, or at least a normal reaction. But instead, everyone looked shocked. "Julia, did you hear me?" she asked again. "You are expecting a baby." Julia swallowed hard. Her voice was shaking. No, that cannot be possible. It is not possible." The doctor frowned. "Why are you surprised? You have been married, right?" Julia looked away. "Yes, but..." She could not complete the sentence. Her mother quickly held her hand. "My daughter, please calm down. This is a blessing." "A blessing?" Julia whispered with tears filling her eyes. "How can this be a blessing? From who? From what?" Her mother turned sharply to the doctor. "Doctor, please give us a minute." When the doctor left, Julia broke down. She covered her face with both hands as tears rolled down uncontrollably. "Mummy, I don't want it," she cried loudly. "God forbid. I don't want it." Her mother held her shoulders firmly. "Julia, don't say that again. Over my dead body will you touch that pregnancy? Do you understand me?" Julia shook her head, crying harder. "But Mummy, you don't understand. You did not see what I saw. You did not see the thing that he turned into in our sitting room. You did not see the tail. You did not see anything." Her mother looked at her with pity, but she was firm. "My daughter, stop saying such things. The mind can play tricks when someone is afraid. Doha is a good man. Maybe you misunderstood something. You must not speak that way. You must protect this child." "What are you saying? Has he come to see you people since he disappeared?" Julia asked in tears, but her mother couldn't answer. Julia covered her face again and cried until she had no strength left. When they got home, Julia walked straight to her room without saying a word. Her mother followed her in. But Julia suddenly fell on her knees in front of her mirror. She stared at her own reflection, shaking her head. "Why? Why me?" she cried. "Doha, wherever you are, I regret the day I met you. I regret loving you. Whatever you are, whoever you are, may your plans fail. You are a devil." Her voice broke as she sobbed. She touched her stomach lightly and cried harder. "I will never keep a child of a spirit," she whispered. "Never." Her mother came in quietly. "Julia, stop talking like that," she warned softly. But Julia turned her face away. Later that evening, Julia picked up her phone and called Kemi. Her hands were shaking. She wiped her tears again and again. "Hello?" Kemi answered. "Kemi." Julia's voice cracked. "I'm finished. I'm completely finished." "What happened?" "Julia, talk to me. Julia, talk to me." Julia sniffed. I'm pregnant." Kemi was silent for a few seconds. "What?" she finally said. "You are what?" Julia cried again. "Pregnant. Are you serious? Pregnant for him?" "I know," she shouted through tears. "I know, Kemi. That is why I am going mad. I don't want it. Never." Kemi let out a long breath. "So, what will you do now? And what can I do?" Julia said weakly. "My mother said I must keep it. But I can't, Kemi. I can't keep a child of something that is not even human. I can't do it." Kemi was quiet for a long time. "I understand you," she finally said. "But just calm down. Don't rush. Don't make any decision yet. Just breathe." They spoke for a long time, going round and round in fear, confusion, and panic. When the call ended, Julia sat on her bed and hugged her pillow tightly. Her world felt like it was falling apart again. That night, after crying until her head hurt, Julia finally fell asleep. But the sleep that came was not a peaceful one. It was heavy, disturbing, and full of shadows. Her room was quiet. The curtains danced gently with the cool night breeze. The AC hummed softly. Everything looked calm. But inside Julia's dream, everything was different. She felt something move on her bed. At first, she thought it was her blanket. Then, she felt the bed shake. Then she heard a low sound, like something sliding across the sheets. She opened her eyes, and her heart almost stopped. A large python was lying beside her on the bed. Its eyes were shining like two small lamps. It stared at her without blinking. The body was long, heavy, and curled around her legs gently. Julia wanted to scream, but no voice came out. Suddenly, the python lifted its head. Its body shook. Its skin cracked open like something breaking. And slowly, very slowly, it changed. Right before her eyes, the python transformed into Doha. Julia gasped inside the dream. Doha knelt on the bed beside her with a sad face. "Julia." His voice was calm, almost weak. "Please, do not do anything to the pregnancy." Julia moved back, shaking her head. "No! Stay away from me!" she shouted in the dream. Doha lifted both hands gently, like someone begging. "I will explain everything to you," he said softly. "I promise. Julia, please, just wait for me. I will come and explain everything to you at the right time." Before she could answer, the dream suddenly broke apart like glass. Julia jerked up from sleep with a loud gasp. Her heart was pounding so fast that she could hear it in her ears. Sweat covered her entire body, even though the AC was still blowing cold air. Her nightgown was soaked, Her hands were shaking. Her breathing was loud and fast, like she had been running. She quickly turned on the lights and jumped off her bed. "No, no, no," she whispered over and over. "Why am I dreaming of him again? Why?" She rushed out of her room, opened the door so fast that it made a loud sound, and ran straight to her mother's room. Her mother sat up immediately. "Julia, what happened?" But Julia could not talk yet. She sat on the bed, holding her mother tightly, shaking like someone who had seen something terrible. Her mother rubbed her back until she calmed down a little. "It was a dream," her mother whispered. "You are safe. Nothing will harm you here." But Julia knew something was wrong, something deep, something she could not explain. When morning came, Julia still felt drained. She was quiet during breakfast. Her mother kept watching her with worried eyes. As soon as she got to her room, Julia picked up her phone and dialed Kemi's number. Kemi answered immediately. "Julia, are you okay?" Julia sighed. "Kemi, I had a dream." "You dream almost every night," Kemi replied lightly. "What happened again?" "It was him," Julia said quietly. "Doha." Kemi became silent for a moment. Then she forced a small laugh. "Julia, please don't let this thing drive you crazy. You dreamt about him because you haven't gotten over everything. That's all." "I saw a python turn into him," Julia whispered. "Dreams are not real," Kemi insisted. "It's just your mind. You have been scared for too long. That's why you are seeing all these things." Julia didn't know if she believed her or not. "Come out later," Kemi continued. "Let's hang out tonight. Let's go somewhere fun. You need fresh air." "I don't want to go anywhere," Julia said. "Julia, please," Kemi begged. "You can't stay inside the house crying every day. Nothing will happen to you. I promise you will be safe." Julia still hesitated. "Trust me," Kemi said softly. And after a long silence, Julia finally nodded. "Okay, I will go." "Great, great." That night, Julia dressed simply. She didn't feel like doing makeup. She didn't even feel like stepping outside. But she forced herself. Kemi picked her up, smiling. "You look fine," Kemi said brightly. "Tonight will be fun." Julia only gave a weak smile. They entered the club together. Music was loud, lights were colorful, and people were dancing everywhere. Julia sat in a corner quietly, while Kemi danced and greeted different people. Kemi kept coming back to her. "Are you okay?" she asked. Julia nodded, but her heart was not there. She felt uncomfortable. The noise made her head hurt. After an hour, she leaned towards Kemi. "Kemi, I want to go home." "So soon?" Kemi frowned. "No. Now, let's stay a little longer." "Kemi, please," Julia said tiredly. "I am not in the mood. I want to go." Kemi sighed loudly. "Fine, but I'm staying. I'm not ready to leave. Let me help you get a cab." They both walked outside the club. The night air was cold, and the street was dark, except for the club lights. A cab stopped when Kemi waved her hand. Julia opened the back door and entered. The driver didn't look back. He only greeted. "Good evening, madam." "Good evening," Julia replied softly. Kemi leaned toward the window. "Call me when you get home," she shouted. Julia nodded. The cab began to move. Kemi stood outside watching the car drive off. The car took another route instead of the normal route to Julia's destination. Julia inside the cab looked out the window, and she froze. The road was familiar. The trees were tall and dark, the same forest road Doha loved. Julia gasped. No, please don't go this way," she said quickly. "Please take another road." The driver didn't answer. Julia's heart started beating fast. Suddenly, the cab slowed down and stopped right beside the forest. The driver slowly turned his head back toward Julia. Julia's heart almost came out of her chest. The face she saw, the eyes, the smile, the familiar look. It was Doha. Julia pressed her back against the seat, breathing hard, shaking from head to toe. Julia's heart beat loudly inside the car. Her hands shook as she tried to open the door, but it refused to open. She kept pulling the handle again and again, but nothing happened. "Hello, Julia," Doha said quietly from the driver's seat. "How are you?" Her fear exploded. Julia screamed so loud that her voice echoed inside the car. She pushed the door with her feet. She hit the window with her hands. She tried everything to escape, but nothing worked. "Please calm down," Doha said, gently. "I promise I won't do anything bad to you." But Julia was shaking. Sweat covered her face. Her breathing was heavy and fast. "Please, please, I beg you," she cried. "Don't hurt me. I'm begging you." Doha turned a little in his seat, his face full of sadness. "Julia, I'm not here to harm you," he said softly. "I only want to talk to you and to beg you." "Beg me for what?" Julia cried. Doha took a slow breath. "I know about the baby growing inside you," he said, quietly. "And I am here to beg you to keep it." Julia froze. Her mouth opened slightly. Her eyes widened. "How did you even know?" she whispered, confused. "I told you," Doha replied with calmness. "I am not like others. I can see things in ways humans cannot." Julia burst into tears again. Who really are you?" she whispered, her voice shaking. There was silence for a moment. Doha lowered his head slightly, as if ashamed. "Julia," he began slowly, "I am not human, and I am truly sorry that I brought you into something you did not understand." Julia shook her head and cried harder. "Who really are you?" she repeated, louder this time. Doha finally answered. "I am a python," he said quietly, "but not an ordinary one. I have special powers. I can change into anything. An old man, a young man, a traveler, anything. I can appear anywhere I want. I have lived for many years, and I have walked among humans many times. But you are different." Julia covered her mouth. Her whole body trembled. "Why me?" she whispered. "I don't know," Doha replied. "I guess it's fate. I have never fallen in love with a human before. I never wanted to. But you," he paused, "you were the first." Julia shook her head quickly. "No, no, no. Don't say that," she cried. "You lied to me. You entered my life like a human. You married me. You made me think everything was normal, but you're not." "I know," Doha said, his voice soft and full of regret. "And I will carry that guilt forever. But please, please keep the pregnancy. I swear I will never hurt you. I will never follow you. I will never disturb your life again. You can have the houses, the cars, everything I gave you. I won't take anything back." Julia wiped her tears with shaking hands. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I can't give birth to a python child. I cannot imagine it." Doha shook his head quickly. "No, you will not give birth to anything strange. I swear. The child will be normal, completely human. I am telling you the truth." But Julia kept shaking her head. "I need to leave," she said in a trembling voice. "Please just let me go." Doha closed his eyes for a moment. He breathed deeply. "Okay," he whispered. "I know. If you say so." He turned the car around quietly. No argument, no anger, just sadness. He drove back toward the club. The road felt longer. The forest looked darker. The air inside the car was heavy and quiet. When they reached the club, Julia opened the door even before the car stopped completely. She jumped out, her legs trembling, her breath shaking. "Goodbye, Julia," Doha said softly, but she didn't look back. She ran inside the club as fast as she could. People stared at her because she looked so scared. She grabbed Kemi's hand immediately. "He's outside! He's outside!" she cried. Kemi rushed outside, but when they reached the front of the club, the car was already gone. Doha had disappeared again. Quietly, silently, like he had never been there. Months later, Julia never saw Doha again. True to his words, he didn't return. He didn't follow her. He didn't disturb her dreams again. But the houses remained in her name. The cars were still hers. Doha never took anything back. Julia refused to visit the houses, though. She had left them the night she ran away, and she never stepped foot inside them again. They were locked, untouched, waiting for her. But Julia kept her distance. Life moved slowly. Her belly grew. Her fear grew too. Her mother stayed with her every day, watching her, feeding her, praying for her. Kemi too kept visiting, supporting her, telling her everything would be fine. And then, one calm morning, Julia gave birth. The nurses rushed around her. Her mother held her hand. Julia cried through the pain, praying silently. Finally, she heard the baby cry. Her heart almost stopped. She held her breath. She forced her eyes open. The nurse brought the baby close. "It's a girl," she said, with a warm smile. A completely healthy baby. Julia stared at the small, beautiful child wrapped in a pink blanket. The baby had tiny fingers, tiny toes, warm brown eyes, soft skin, like every other newborn. She was normal, perfect, human. Julia burst into tears again. But this time, they were tears of relief. Her mother hugged her tightly. "God has done it," she whispered. Julia held her baby close to her chest. Doha was right. The child was normal. The child was fine. The child was human. Days passed. Weeks passed. Months passed. Doha never appeared. He kept his promise. She moved back to the big house with her parents, found lots of money in different currencies on her bed, and she raised her daughter with love and care. She still wondered about Doha sometimes, who he really was, where he came from, if he was still alive, somewhere in the hidden parts of the world. But she never saw him again. Her daughter grew stronger every day. Julia finally found peace. Sometimes people enter our lives with secrets we cannot understand. And sometimes life takes us through confusing paths that make us question everything. But one thing is true. No matter how dark or strange a past looks, the future can still become beautiful. And even after fear, even after mistakes, even after heartbreak, new life brings new hope. Julia moved on. She raised her child. She learned to smile again. And she chose peace over fear. Did you enjoy this story? Please stay with us. We have another beautiful story coming your way. Thank you so much for watching. And where are you watching from?